Before we start, I want to say that only 1% of you are subscribed. Please subscribe because when we reach 1,000 subscribers, I will post a special video for you. The hum of the spacecraft's engines toned down to a gentle purr as Jack peered through the viewport at the sprawling vistas of Xantha. The planet's surface swirled with vibrant colors, reflecting its rich and diverse ecosystems. "Beautiful, isn't it?" remarked Captain Soren, the pilot of their small exploration vessel and a veteran of interstellar travel. "Nothing like the first time you set eyes on a new world." Jack nodded, his gaze fixed on the approaching landscape. "It's more than I imagined. How do the Xanthians manage to maintain such diversity?" "It's all about balance and understanding their environment," Soren replied as he initiated the landing sequence. "You'll find they are quite advanced in ways we're just beginning to understand." The ship touched down gently on a landing pad that was part of a larger complex, clearly designed to accommodate visitors from different parts of the galaxy. As the hatch opened, a rush of alien air filled the cabin, crisp and tinged with a floral scent. Stepping onto the platform, Jack and Soren were greeted by a trio of Xanthians. Their slender forms were taller than the average human, with skin that shimmered like the surface of a pond at sunrise. The middle one, who wore a band of luminescent material around his neck, a sign of leadership, stepped forward with a wide smile. "Welcome to Xantha, Jack, Soren. I am Tarek, your liaison during your stay here." His voice was melodic, each word carefully pronounced. "Thank you, Tarek." "It's an honor to be here," Jack responded, extending his hand in a typical human gesture. Tarek, after a moment of hesitation, mimicked the action, his hand enveloping Jack's in a soft, warm grasp. "We have prepared a small welcome ceremony to introduce you to our council and some of our people," Tarek explained as they walked towards a sleek monorail that glittered under the planet's twin suns. As the monorail whisked them toward the city center, Jack and Soren observed the landscapes rushing by: lush green fields, intricate networks of waterways, and clusters of structures that seemed to blend seamlessly with nature. "So, what brings a human explorer like yourself to Xantha?" Tarek inquired, genuinely curious. "I'm here to learn, to see how different life can be and to share those findings," Jack said, his eyes reflecting a passion for discovery. "Humans thrive on learning from others, and what better way than direct experience?" Tarek nodded. "And you will find we are eager to learn from you as well. Exchange is the foundation of growth." The monorail slowed as they approached a large, domed building adorned with symbols that Jack assumed were significant in Xanthian culture. They disembarked and were led into a hall where a group of Xanthians awaited, their expressions open and welcoming. "Jack, Soren, this is our Council of Elders," Tarek introduced. Each elder nodded in greeting, their eyes bright with curiosity. An elder stepped forward, his age evident in his slightly stooped posture but his eyes sharp. "We are delighted to host you. It is our hope that your time among us expands your horizons as much as it does ours." Jack smiled, looking around at the gathering. "Thank you for this warm reception. I look forward to every moment of my stay." "Let us begin with a tour of our capital," Tarek suggested, gesturing towards an open archway leading out of the hall. "We have much to show you." As they walked, Jack's mind raced with possibilities. This was more than a simple visit. It was the beginning of what he hoped would be a significant chapter in human-alien relations. The tour of the Xanthian capital was a blend of ancient tradition and cutting-edge technology. Structures that looked centuries old were fitted with energy systems that hummed quietly, powering the city without disrupting its aesthetic beauty. Jack walked alongside Tarek, with Soren and another human crew member, Liam, trailing a few steps behind. Liam, an engineer with a keen interest in alien technology, was visibly excited, his eyes darting from one structure to another. "This integration of natural elements with technology is amazing," Liam commented, gesturing towards a building where vines grew over solar panels. "Does this kind of tech help with energy efficiency?" "Yes, indeed," Tarek replied, pleased with the question. "Our architects are trained to work with nature, not against it. The plants you see not only support the building's energy needs, but also help purify the air and provide thermal insulation." "That's fascinating," Soren added. "Human cities could learn a lot from this approach." Their path led them to a large public square where groups of Xanthians mingled. Children played around sculptures that emitted soft, harmonic tones when touched, creating a symphony of laughter and music. "Is this a common gathering area?" Jack asked, watching a group of children play. "Very much so," Tark explained. "Community is central to our culture. Spaces like these are designed for social interaction and relaxation." Jack nodded, his mind racing with ideas for his reports back to Earth. "It's very open and welcoming." They continued their tour, heading towards a large complex that Tark explained was a research facility. "This is where we innovate and test new technologies before they are implemented citywide." Inside, they were greeted by Dr. Hellies, a Xanthian researcher who specialized in environmental technology. "Welcome, visitors. We're eager to share our work with you." Dr. Hellies led them through several labs where scientists worked on various projects. In one room, biologists were developing genetically engineered plants that could thrive in harsh environments. Liam leaned in, fascinated. "What's the application for these?" "We're preparing to terraform new sections of Xantha for agricultural expansion," Dr. Hellies explained. "These plants are more drought-resistant and can grow in poor soil." "That's incredible," Liam said. "On Earth, we're still struggling with similar issues. Your solutions could be highly beneficial for us. We hope to exchange more of these technologies," Dr. Hellies replied with a smile. The next part of the tour took them to a recreational area where Xanthians engaged in a sport that resembled a mix of soccer and basketball. Tark invited Jack and his crew to participate. "You must try it," Tark urged, handing them lightweight balls. "It's quite simple, and I assure you, it's very entertaining." With some initial hesitation, Jack and Soren joined a team. The game was fast-paced and required quick thinking, but the humans quickly picked up the basics. Laughter and cheers filled the air, the game providing a light-hearted way to bridge their cultural differences. After the game, they sat down at a nearby cafe, sipping drinks that tasted faintly of mint and citrus. "I haven't had this much fun in ages," Jack admitted, wiping sweat from his brow. "It's good to hear that," Tarek said, smiling. "It's important to us that you feel part of our community, even if it's just for a short while." As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the city, Jack felt a profound sense of connection. This first full day on Xantha had surpassed all his expectations, deepening his appreciation for the Xanthian way of life and their commitment to harmony and innovation. The third day of Jack's visit to Xantha promised an adventure into the wilder regions of the planet, exploring its natural habitats. Jack, Soren, and Liam were joined by a Xanthian guide, Dinner, who specialized in planetary ecology. As they prepared for the day, Soren checked their supplies. "Got all the gear? Remember, it's not just a stroll in the park. We need to be prepared. Everything's accounted for," Liam assured him, patting the pack on his back. The group boarded an all-terrain vehicle, designed by the Xanthians to handle the diverse landscapes with minimal environmental impact. Dinner navigated skillfully, the vehicle gliding over rough terrain with ease. Xantha's ecosystems vary dramatically within just a few kilometers, Dinner explained as they traveled. "You'll see some of the most resilient plant species in this region." Jack, sitting next to Dinner, was all ears. "What makes this area so unique?" "The soil here is rich in minerals that are rare on other parts of the planet," Dinner replied. "It supports a unique flora that, in turn, supports diverse wildlife." As they ventured deeper into the wild, the scenery changed dramatically. Towering trees with luminous leaves created a canopy overhead, casting everything in a surreal light. "This is incredible," Jack murmured, his eyes wide with wonder. They stopped to collect samples and observe the wildlife. Jack and Liam ventured a little away from the group, engrossed in their observations. Suddenly, there was a sharp crack from underfoot. Before Jack could react, the ground gave way beneath him, sending him tumbling down a steep embankment. He tried to grab onto something, anything, but it was too late. He hit the ground hard. "Jack!" Liam's voice echoed as he scrambled towards the edge. Soren and Dinner rushed over, their expressions a mix of concern and urgency. Liam found a safe way down and reached Jack, who was grimacing in pain, his leg trapped under a fallen tree branch. "Hang on, Jack." We'll get you out, Liam said, examining the situation. Dinner slid down next to them, pulling out a compact medical kit. Let me see. It's bad, isn't it? Jack managed to say, his face pale. We need to stabilize you before we move you, Dinner instructed calmly, working with practiced ease. Soren, having made his way down, helped Dinner lift the branch carefully while Liam supported Jack's back. Once free, Dinner applied a temporary splint to Jack's leg. We must get him back to the city quickly. He needs proper medical attention. The return trip was tense, with Jack in considerable pain despite the painkillers Dinner had administered. Back in the city, Jack was rushed to a medical facility where Xanthian doctors took over. Soren and Liam waited outside, their faces etched with worry. He's tough. He'll get through this, Soren said after a long silence. Liam nodded, though his look was still anxious. Yeah, he's one of the toughest guys I know. Hours later, the doctor emerged. He's stable. The injury was severe, and we had to perform surgery, but he's strong. He'll recover. Can we see him? Liam asked. Yes, but he's resting now. Give him time, the doctor advised. As they sat in the waiting area, Liam reflected aloud. You know, Jack always wanted to see the limits of human exploration. He just didn't plan to do it quite like this. Soren gave a wry smile. He's certainly making this trip memorable. In his hospital bed, Jack slowly regained consciousness, the pain a dull roar in the background. He looked around, momentarily disoriented, before memories of the accident flooded back. Despite the throes of pain, a determined spark ignited in his eyes. This setback wouldn't end his journey, not if he had anything to say about it. Jack lay in the recovery room, his legs secured in a sophisticated Xanthian healing brace designed to promote rapid tissue regeneration. The room was quiet, save for the soft hum of medical devices. Soren and Liam visited frequently, bringing news from the outside and keeping Jack's spirits up. How are you feeling today? Liam asked as he entered the room, Soren close behind. Better, Jack replied, managing a weak smile. The doctors say I might be able to walk again soon with some assistance. That's great to hear, Soren responded, clapping his friend lightly on the shoulder. Lyral, the Xanthian who had become particularly close to Jack during his stay, entered the room with a device in his hands. I brought something to help with your recovery, he said, offering it to Jack. What's this? Jack asked, examining the sleek, handheld device. It's a neurostimulator. It helps with pain and accelerates nerve healing, Lyral explained. We use it often here. Jack nodded in appreciation, touched by Lyral's thoughtfulness. Thank you, Lyral. I'm learning a lot about your medical technology. As we are learning from you, Lyral replied, sitting beside the bed. Your determination is quite educational for us. The room fell silent for a moment, each man lost in thought. Then, breaking the silence, Liam spoke up. So, Jack, once you're up and about, what's the first thing you want to do? Jack thought for a moment. Honestly, I just want to walk around the city. There's so much more I want to see and understand. We'll make sure that happens, Soren assured him. Lyral nodded in agreement. And perhaps, when you're ready, you could share more about human recovery techniques. It could be beneficial for our research. I'd like that, Jack said. There's a lot we could exchange that would help both our peoples. The conversation shifted towards plans for collaborative projects between humans and Xanthians, discussing potential areas where both could benefit. Technology, ecology, and even cultural exchanges were put on the table. As they talked, Jack used the neurostimulator, noticing a decrease in pain. This thing really works, he remarked, amazed. Yes, it's one of our more praised inventions, Lyral said with pride. Perhaps you could take the concept back with you. That could change a lot for us, Liam mused, always thinking ahead to practical applications. The discussion went on for hours, and by the time Lyral had to leave, Jack was visibly more animated, his spirit buoyed by the support of his friends and the possibilities of future cooperation. I'll come by tomorrow, Lyral promised as he stood to leave. We'll set up a virtual tour of the places you can't visit yet. That sounds perfect, Jack responded, genuinely grateful. After Lyral left, Soren turned to Jack. You know, seeing you handle all this, it's impressive, mate. Jack chuckled softly. What choice do I have? I'm not about to let this stop me. No, I guess you're not. Liam agreed, smiling. As night fell, the men continued to talk, planning, and dreaming about the days ahead. Despite the setback, the sense of camaraderie and shared purpose filled the room with an optimistic energy, reinforcing their commitment to not only Jack's recovery but also to the strengthening ties between humans and Xanthians. A few weeks had passed since the accident, and Jack was making remarkable progress with his recovery. With the aid of the Xanthian neurostimulator and the innovative medical treatments, he was beginning to walk short distances, albeit with support. One morning, Lyral arrived earlier than usual at Jack's recovery suite, carrying a portable data pad. I've put together something special for you today, he announced with a hint of excitement in his voice. Jack looked up, intrigued. Oh, what's that? A virtual tour of the Xantha Museum of Natural History. I remember you mentioned your interest in our planet's biodiversity, Lyral explained as he set up the device. That sounds fantastic, Jack said, his eyes lighting up. He motioned to Soren and Liam, who were lounging in the room. Guys, come check this out. The three men gathered around the data pad, which displayed vivid images of Xanthian wildlife and flora, accompanied by detailed descriptions. Lyral expertly navigated through the exhibits, sharing anecdotes and scientific data. As they delved deeper into the virtual tour, Jack's fascination grew. This is incredible, Lyral. The diversity here is unlike anything we've cataloged before. Yes, our ecosystems are quite unique, Lyral replied, pleased with Jack's interest. I thought this might inspire you for when you can explore our world more freely. I can't wait, Jack said, a genuine smile spreading across his face. The conversation shifted naturally from the virtual tour to a more personal dialogue. How do you guys relax on Xantha? What's a typical evening for you? Jack asked, eager to learn more about Xanthian culture beyond the academic and scientific exchanges. Lyral thought for a moment. Well, many of us enjoy the art of storytelling. It's a traditional way to end the day, gathering with friends and family to share stories. That sounds a lot like back home, Liam commented. Though I bet the stories are quite different. Why don't we have our own storytelling session right now? Soren suggested, always ready to embrace new experiences. Lyral was delighted by the idea. I would love that. I can share a traditional Xanthian tale, and perhaps you could share something from Earth. Jack agreed enthusiastically. Let's do it. I've got a good one in mind. The group settled in comfortably, and Lyral began with a Xanthian tale about a mythical creature that roamed the ancient forests, its existence woven into the fabric of their philosophy about nature and coexistence. When it was Jack's turn, he chose a classic Earth story of adventure and bravery, drawing parallels between human and Xanthian values. The stories sparked a deep discussion about cultural similarities and differences, fostering a greater understanding among them. As the evening wound down, Jack felt a renewed sense of connection not only to his own crew but to Lyral and the world he was temporarily a part of. This was a great idea, he told the group. We should make this a regular thing while we're here. I agree, Lyral responded warmly. It's these exchanges that enrich our understanding and friendships. Soren and Liam nodded in agreement, both visibly more relaxed and engaged than they had been in days. The storytelling sessions became a cherished routine, strengthening the bonds between the human explorers and their Xanthian hosts. Each session allowed them to explore each other's worlds through tales and legends, bridging the gap between the stars under which they lived. This simple yet profound activity brought them closer, transforming their interstellar mission into a journey of shared human and alien experiences. Jack was now able to walk with minimal assistance, a testament to both his determination and the effectiveness of Xanthian medical technology. With his mobility improving, Lyral suggested a visit to a local cultural center to immerse more deeply in Xanthian social practices and art forms. Today, we'll experience something special, Lyral explained as they approached the grand building, its architecture a harmonious blend of natural elements and striking modernity. We're attending a session on Xanthian meditative practices, followed by a workshop on our traditional painting techniques. That sounds perfect, Jack replied, eager to engage more actively with the culture that had welcomed him so warmly. Inside the center, they were greeted by Galek, a renowned teacher of meditation and art on Xantha. Welcome, friends. We are honored to share with you the essence of our spiritual and artistic traditions, Galek said, his voice calm and inviting. They began with the meditation session. Galek guided them through the process, which involved rhythmic breathing and mental imagery connected to the natural world of Xantha. Feel the energy of the life around you, connect with it, and let it fill you with peace, Galek instructed. Jack, Soren, and Liam participated earnestly, finding the experience surprisingly soothing and grounding. I've never felt quite this centered, Jack admitted as the session concluded, a serene smile on his face. Meditation is a key part of understanding oneself and the universe, Galek responded. It's good to hear you found it beneficial. Next, they moved on to the art workshop. Tables were set up with various natural pigments and tools for painting. Xanthian art often focuses on the flow of energy and life. Try to express what you felt during meditation through your painting, Galek encouraged them. The men picked up brushes, experimenting with colors and strokes that attempted to capture their recent meditative experiences. Lyral, who was more practiced, created a vibrant canvas filled with swirling patterns that depicted the energy flow they had envisioned. Jack's painting, while less skilled, was deeply expressive, showing bold lines and a chaotic blend of colors that somehow conveyed his journey of recovery and adaptation. I didn't know I had this in me, Jack chuckled, standing back to view his work. It's beautiful, Lyral commented, genuinely impressed. Art is about expression, not just technique. You've captured something very powerful. As the day progressed, the group's conversations deepened, touching on topics of philosophy, life, and the universe. Galek, interested in their views, asked about human concepts of the cosmos. Well, many of us believe that we're all connected, not just through space but through the very fabric of existence, Soren explained. It's not too different from some of the things we've learned here today. Yes, it seems despite our distant origins, our fundamental questions and awe are quite similar, Galek noted, nodding thoughtfully. As the cultural day ended, Jack felt a profound sense of gratitude and connection. Not only was he physically healing, but he was also growing in his understanding and appreciation of Xanthian culture, which seemed to resonate with his own beliefs more than he had expected. Thank you, Galek, and thank you, Lyral, Jack said as they left the center. Today was enlightening in more ways than one. It was our pleasure, Lyral replied, clapping Jack on the back. Understanding each other's ways deepens the bonds between our people. As they walked back to their lodgings under the twin suns of Xantha, the men discussed plans to explore more of the planet's cultural facets. Their journey was no longer just about exploration and recovery, but about building lasting bridges between their worlds. After several weeks immersed in the richness of Xanthian culture and making substantial progress in his physical recovery, Jack found his connection with Lyral deepening into something far more significant than friendship. It was an evening like any other, with the stars of Xantha shining brightly, that Jack and Lyral decided to take a walk in the serene botanical gardens near the recovery center. The gardens were a symphony of colors and scents, with bioluminescent plants lighting the pathways. As they walked, their conversation turned from the day-to-day experiences to more personal revelations. I've been thinking a lot about what happens next, Jack started, breaking a comfortable silence. About us. Lyral turned to him, his expression thoughtful. So have I. We come from different worlds, yet I feel a bond that I have not felt before. Jack nodded, feeling a surge of emotion. I feel the same. It's like you've shown me a new way to see the universe. They stopped walking, standing beside a softly glowing flower that illuminated their faces in a blue light. Lyral reached out, gently taking Jack's hand. Jack, these weeks with you have changed my perspective on many things. About unity, about sharing lives, despite our origins. It's not going to be easy, Jack said, squeezing Lyral's hand. But I think the best things in life aren't easy. They require effort, commitment. Lyral smiled, his eyes reflecting the starlight. I agree. I am willing to see where this path leads us, together. Encouraged by Lyral's words, Jack felt a rush of hope. Let's make a commitment then, not just to each other, but to bridging our worlds, in whatever form that takes. That sounds like a vow, Lyral replied, a playful tone in his voice. "It is," Jack affirmed. "A vow to navigate this journey together, through uncertainties, through learning and growing." Lyral moved closer, and in a moment that felt suspended in time, they shared their first kiss under the Xanthian stars, a gentle and affirming connection that sealed their commitment. Later, they found a quiet bench and sat down, talking about practical steps they could take. "We'll need to plan carefully," Jack said. "There are cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations, maybe even petitions for dual residencies." Lyral was quick to add, "And we'll need to communicate openly, always, about everything. Our hopes, our fears." Jack agreed. "Transparency and communication. That's the foundation we'll build on." As they continued to outline their thoughts for the future, Soren and Liam joined them in the garden. The two men had observed Jack and Lyral's relationship grow and were supportive of this new development. "Looks like you two have reached a new understanding," Soren said with a knowing grin. "We have," Jack replied, not without a bit of pride. "We're planning to take on the challenge of bringing our worlds together." "That's a big step," Liam commented. "But if anyone can make it work, it's you two." The group spent the rest of the evening discussing potential collaborative projects that could serve as initial steps towards integrating human and Xanthian societies. Ideas flew back and forth, from joint educational programs to shared research initiatives. As the night deepened and the bioluminescent glow of the gardens faded into the early hours of the morning, Jack felt a profound sense of purpose and connection. The path ahead would indeed be challenging, but with Lyral by his side, and the support of friends like Soren and Liam, he was ready to face whatever came their way. Together, they were poised to forge a new chapter in human and Xanthian relations. The morning suns of Xantha rose with a promise of new beginnings, casting a golden light over the city as Jack prepared for one of his final days on the planet. His recovery was nearly complete, and the plans he had made with Lyral were starting to take shape. In the quiet of the early morning, Jack and Lyral met with Soren and Liam at a local cafe, their usual spot for discussing the day's agenda. Today, however, their conversation was focused on the future. "So, what's the first step we're taking in this grand plan of ours?" Soren asked, sipping his Xanthian tea. Lyral, ever the organizer, pulled out a digital tablet and displayed a detailed timeline. "We've got approval to start a pilot exchange program. It'll involve both human and Xanthian scholars and scientists working together on environmental sustainability projects." "That's fantastic," Liam said, his engineer's mind already turning over the possibilities. "What about public outreach? We need to get both our peoples excited about this collaboration." Jack nodded. "I've been working on a proposal for a series of joint broadcasts. We'll share stories from both Earth and Xantha, focusing on our shared goals and the personal stories of those involved in the exchange." Lyral looked pleased. "That personal touch will make a huge difference. It's about showing that behind all the science and politics, there are individuals with dreams and aspirations working together." The group agreed, and discussion turned to more personal reflections about their time together. Jack took a moment to express his gratitude. "I want to thank you all. This experience, recovering here, learning from you, building something together, it's changed me. I've found a new purpose, and in finding that, you've helped forge a path for many others who will follow." Lyral responded, his tone earnest. "We're creating a legacy of cooperation and mutual growth." Soren clapped Jack on the back. "You've done more than just recover here, mate. You've helped bridge two worlds." As their meeting drew to a close, the group decided to spend the rest of the day visiting some of Jack's favorite spots around the city. They walked through public gardens, visited innovative technology centers, and shared meals at local eateries, discussing everything from the details of their upcoming projects to reminiscences of their past adventures. In the afternoon, they found themselves atop a hill overlooking the city, watching as the twin suns began their descent, bathing the city in a warm, amber light. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Jack remarked, looking out over the city that had become a second home. "It's a view I'll never tire of," Lyral agreed, standing close by his side. "Remember this, Jack. Whenever you look up at the stars from Earth, know that here is a place that appreciates you, that is part of you." Jack felt a swell of emotion. "I'll carry this with me always, and I'll be back." We have too much to do together for me to stay away for long. The sun set completely, and the first stars of the evening made their appearance. The four friends stood in silence, each lost in thought but united in their hopes and commitments. Finally, as the night settled in, they made their way back down to the city. The future was uncertain, full of challenges and promises, but together, they had laid the groundwork for something truly monumental. This wasn't an end, but a bright new beginning. As Jack looked back one last time at the fading skyline, he knew that this was just the first chapter in a long, shared journey.